the Air Force life, you hung your uniform, your boots, as they say. So, what kind of feeling was it then and today when you look back at those days?
Hanging up the uniform was the most difficult part. It was one of the most difficult decisions of my life. But yes, after hanging up, it was a big decision. It was a heavy part, hanging up the uniform and not being able to wear it again.
I think you were from the first few batches which started off this change in the Air Force where ladies were recruited and they were the ones who were supposed to fly. The way things have changed now, we have fighter pilots as girl cadets who have already joined up flying and bringing laurels for the country. At the same time, for you, when you would have joined, how was it? Because it was a male bastion, if I must say.
That fighter stream was a totally male dominated stream, and I'm sure the fighter squadrons must have adjusted a lot. Every one of us, we were 9 of us passed out in the first batch of helicopters, and hamare next course mein there were 6. Gunjan
Okay.
Saxena was from the second batch,
All right.
doing a research on us.
Okay.
What are the body changes that is happening when you are flying? We were given a booklet
Okay.
for recording our data there for full 1 month. They recorded our data. Okay, what happens during your monthly period time, how much of problem you are having, flying mein kitni problem ho rahi hai. Shock looking at my room. The prank that they played was that room had some dirty curtains. It had a bed with a mattress, nothing else.
Oh my God. Talking about Air Force life and the way you talked about welcome and stuff. तो उसमें क्या कुछ ऐसे customs, कुछ ऐसे traditions जो आज भी आप अपने साथ लेके चलते हो?
I am an Air Force officer. I'm married to a naval officer. I'm the daughter-in-law of an army officer. I'm the daughter of a naval officer.
Okay.
So I've got all the tri-services in my family. So you can say, literally Forge runs in my blood.
आज अगर मौका मिले तो आपका आंसर क्या होगा?
अगर कोई सिर्फ एक बार बोले कि चलो तुम्हें वापस लेते हैं, I'm sure every one of us, wherever in the world we are, will be ready to drop and just come back. So I can proudly say there are about 7-8 girls in the Air Force currently serving who are
your products.
My products. Prepare the children, not only girls, I'm not saying girls alone, boys as well. Prepare your children to join the armed forces before you push them in 10th standard. Okay, start preparing for NDA or start preparing for CDS. You prepare your children from the beginning itself in terms of discipline. Remember the armed forces throughout the year, not only on the 2 special occasions of Independence Day and Republic Day. Fauji's need to be remembered throughout the year. Major push is please encourage your children for NCC. Please encourage them to join NCC because NCC is a regular, commissioned arm of the armed forces. जो तुम कहते हो कि देश का भविष्य आज का युवा है. That song which Lata Mangeshkar sang, ऐ मेरे वतन के लोगों, that should become like a blood speaking to us कि वो actually में true है. तुम्हारा motivation towards your tribute to the armed forces is remembering a Fauji.
Jai Hind, everyone. Today's episode is especially very special for me. After all, it's Air Force Day and Air Force Day very close to my heart. आगे इसके बारे में मैं क्या क्या बोलूं, मैं तो खुद ही कंफ्यूज हो जाती हूँ. कंफ्यूज नहीं, एक्साइटेड हो जाती हूँ, इमोशनल हो जाती हूँ, बिकॉज मैंने भी अपनी जिंदगी के तकरीबन 28 साल एयरफोर्स की लाइफ जी के बिताए हैं, हैविंग मैरिड द एयरफोर्स ऑफिसर. बट आज उनके बारे में बात बिल्कुल नहीं होने वाली है. आज जिसके बारे में बात होने वाली है और जिसके साथ इंटरव्यू होने वाली है, that is a very special person. Do you know who she is? Here we have with us today Sqn Ldr Sangeeta, the first batch of helicopter pilots from the Indian Air Force. and we will be sitting and talking with her and finding out all about her Air Force life and her experiences. So join in and let's start with the talk. So, like Air Force Day, 8th of October, what kind of importance does it hold for you?
Air Force Day, 8th of October, actually is like a memory. After retirement, it's like an emotional day, also a proud moment when people wish family. Obviously, my husband wishes the first one to wish me always. My children now, since I'm a teacher now, children, school. So
Okay.
it carries a heavy weight as well as it also carries a lot of emotional attachment to it. That remembrance of the uniform,
Yeah,
the pride of the uniform, the wings,
correct.
flying, and all the memories that I have gathered in Air Force. Basically, it's a very important and emotional day, as well as a moment of pride
Right.
that I am an air warrior.
And once an air warrior is,
Once an air warrior, always an air warrior. I still remember, Agar Air Force Day pe, if I get to see a helicopter, it's like a cherry on the cake. My day is
wonderful.
made.
Yes. And could you tell it that why was 8th October the date for Air Force Day?
Actually, 8th October was the Air Force Day because that was the day when the Indian Air Force was formed by the Britishers in 1932.
Okay.
8th October 1932, Indian Air Force was formed in the British era.
Okay.
So that is why the tradition is still carrying on because that was the day when we were formed, the Warriors of the Sky were formed.
Okay.
That is the reason.
एंड while you say कि बहुत मेमोरीज आती हैं और सब कोई विश करते हैं तो एक बार फिर से यू रीलिव योर डेज ऑफ Air Force life as a helicopter pilot. So, how was it the day you know, finally came out of the Air Force life? You hung your uniform, your boots, as they say. So, uh, what kind of feeling was it then and today when you look back at those days?
Hanging up the uniform was the most difficult part. It was one of the most difficult decisions of my life. But yes, after hanging up, it was a big decision. It was a heavy part, hanging up the uniform and not being able to wear it again. But yes, there was a little bridge between my retirement from Air Force and leaving the defense forces. Since my husband was in Navy, I was still in the armed forces, living the life not as an officer, but yes, as a wife. So that was a little buffer. But yes, I did really miss that uniform, miss going for flying. That is one part which will always remain. Like I always, joke with my husband that my soul always remains in the cockpit. I just have to find a Chetak somewhere, and he knows that my eyes and my self will automatically get magnetically attracted to that aircraft. And that grin and that smile is always there, as if somebody has to just tell me that please go sit inside and just take this,
Oh
and
God.
I will be ready to take. So this part has always been there. My course also, like we at times get together and chat. It is always there with them also. All of us are like part of our souls are always there in that cockpit attached because that's the aircraft I've flown maximum in
Right.
all kinds of terrain, all kinds of weather, all kinds of adversities. Chetak has been a survivor, a companion for me. So after hanging up the uniform, it was a little difficult for initial 2 3 months. It took time actually. First 1 month, I can say, it never struck only. It
Okay.
was as if, I was on leave.
Yeah.
It is after a month I realized ki, okay, I can't wear that uniform. Now I don't have that ID card that I can just enter into an FO station. Though as a wife I can always enter because I have a dependent card, but still as an officer I can't. So that pinched a bit. But I took it with a pinch of salt. And now today when I stand, it is a moment of pride. Yes, that vacuum can never be filled. That void can never be filled, because if given an opportunity, every veteran for that matter always misses
Correct.
that opportunity to be serving again, to be called as a serving person again.
Right.
That I think will never be fulfilled. But yes, that happiness is always there when you see that glory in the eyes of your children, your husband. In fact, my co-teachers, my students for that matter, it's more in my students
Yes.
when they come to know that okay, I was a pilot. So it was more when you see in them, and they wish. There are a couple of them who still remember. So in their busy time, they do take out time and wish. So
Wow.
today, that is the happiness that I get.
Correct. And as I look at it, a lot must have changed, because I think you were from the first few batches which started off this change in the Air Force, where ladies were recruited and they were the ones who were supposed to fly. The way things have changed now, we have fighter pilots as girl cadets who have already joined up flying and bringing laurels for the country. At the same time, for you, when you would have joined, how was it? Because it was a male bastion, if I must say. So, to fit yourself in that kind of an environment in those days, if you can just walk us through that.
It's a big journey, actually. Air Force has taken a big journey from the first batch of women pilots, who was the Avros,
Yeah.
and ours was the third batch of women pilots, but first batch for helicopters.
Yes.
First two batches were for transports, and thereafter was our batch, which we joined in 1994, July 94. And training stage was pretty well organized, pretty well tuned up, because Air Force Academy was very well versed with the female cadets, including flying branch. There were two courses already there. Uh, One senior course was there when we joined. So we had some people to be guiding us in Air Force Academy. But the only part was we stayed in Air Force Academy for only 6 months.
All right.
Thereafter, we were shifted to Hakimpet for Chetak Cheetahs, to 1 year of Chetak Cheetah trainings there, Chetak trainings. So after that, that part is also very well covered, because we were well groomed and well trained and guided properly. The actual struggle started when we were commissioned.
Okay.
Till 1995, December 1995, I can say yes, we didn't know what hit us. We didn't know, yes, we knew that we were the first batch of helicopters. Slowly and gradually, we came to know how much of adjustment Air Force has done and how much of adjustment we were supposed to do.
Correct.
So today, when I hear that, okay, lady pilots have done this, we had to adjust, I would like to put forward a different aspect also to it. Air
Okay.
Force has also adjusted for us. Like Hakimpet, I still remember the aircrew room. We were the first course, lady cadets course, to be directly reaching Hakimpet,
Right.
because till then, the pilots, after commissioning, the male officers used to reach Hakimpet and get trained there.
Correct.
Ours was the first course to reach there. Though there were Ishkara cadets there, male cadets who were flying Ishkaras there, but their staying accommodation was in a village, in a mess which was in the village beyond the Hakimpet airfield.
Okay.
Ab now we are lady officers, lady cadets. They cannot put us in that male cadets mess, because that path is absolute dark. It goes through the village. Now that safety feature comes. So Air Force had to do the adjustment. What? We were made to stay in officers mess.
Okay.
We were made to stay in officers mess, and we had army course with us, army and Air Force officers course with us, who were doing the same training. But the only barrier was that we had to behave ourselves, because we were still a cadets and they were officers, eating in the same officers mess.
Okay.
That's what is the brilliant part. how much of, you know, control and how much of leewage Air Force had given, what all adjustments Air Force made was this. They adjusted with the circumstances because they knew till the time the mess inside the Hakimpet, Air Force Station Hakimpet comes up, they couldn't have allowed us to stay in the mess with the boys. So they made adjustment, made us stay in the officers mess. Though we were called, yes, privileged lot, officers mess mein rehte hain, still I felt, yes, we had to behave properly since we were staying with officers, we were staying with our instructors in the officers mess. That was the first adjustment we made as well as Air Force made. Then we came to know the aircrew room which was given to us in Hakimpet was once the instructors crew room.
Okay.
So they had to sacrifice a part of their crew room, one room for us, and adjust in one room till the time, people adjusted. So we didn't know all these things. We were slowly made to, we overheard these conversations after 1 year when we were about to pass out. That was the training stage part. The actual adjustments came once we started flying. We got posted out, we started flying because there in Hakimpet, we were 9 of us together.
Right.
So being 9 of us together, still we have company for each other. But when we got posted, we were single. There were, I think, only one place, Sarsawa, where two were posted together. Sarsawa and Bareilly, where two were posted together. Rest everywhere, single of us were posted. I was posted to Jamnagar,
Okay.
114. And being the first lady pilot of Air Force Station Jamnagar
Okay.
was an achievement. It was like, as if the whole Air Force Station was being prepared for me coming, my coming, and AOC preparing. Unit obviously was preparing, but the beautiful part was the way my unit welcomed me. It was not एक lady officer आ रही है. That tradition of welcoming a male officer with a prank and
Yes.
somebody assuming to be somebody, newly commissioned officer. Can you
All that
believe
happened?
they played the same prank on me?
Wonderful. That's nice.
Amazing. I remember I reached Jamnagar railway station. Two people came to welcome me, and one civilian bearer came to pick up my luggage. Okay, and these two were telling, "Hey, you pick up the luggage. मेम साहब का सामान लेके जाओ. Okay, you come." ठीक है. गाड़ी में बैठे. I reached F mess, and I was shown, "This is your room." I was literally in a state of shock looking at my room. The prank that they played was that room had some dirty curtains. It had a bed with a mattress, nothing else.
Oh my God.
No bed sheet, no ऊपर ओढ़ने वाला bed sheet, nothing.
Okay. And they just told you this is your
This
room.
is your room, please make yourself comfortable.
Okay.
Okay, ठीक है, adjust किया. Then I asked, I said, कुछ मिलेगा? Okay, there is a officer nearby, we'll ask him to give you something. That civilian bearer was throughout with me. Okay, next day morning, I reached the Sqn.
In that same room you stayed?
I stayed in that
Okay.
same room.
Okay.
Nothing. Matlab, no special treatment, no nothing. I was made, okay, you sleep here. Tomorrow morning we'll take you. Ecru one came. Okay, I reached the Sqn. After reaching the Sqn, it was like everybody there. But the situation was nobody was playing the part they actually were.
Yeah.
So it was like a absolute tipsy topsy ride. I didn't know क्या हो रहा है. There is somebody coming and pulling me, bullying in the sense just taunting me. There is somebody coming and telling me, don't talk to this fellow. This fellow is just like that. And I see, there is a senior officer lying down in the couch. I'm like, okay, that officer is not saying anything, but he's just lying down. A lot of things happened and I was like clueless क्या हो रहा है, nobody understood. But yes, एक जरूर चीज थी, that senior officer lying down was in a very casual way, he would very carefully come and ask, are you all right, are you comfortable,
Yeah.
I hope you don't need anything. So that bell was ringing. There is something wrong here, but
Okay.
nothing placed. You know कि ये कौन है? This carried on for only a day.
Okay.
Later on, I came to know the squadron officers had planned कि हम 2 दिन चलाएंगे.
अच्छा.
So CO refused कि नहीं ऐसा नहीं हो सकता. I am giving you only permission for a day. उससे
Okay.
ज़्यादा नहीं दूंगा. So next day I came to know the person lying down was no other than
The
my own
CEO
CEO.
himself.
Because रात को भी I saw sir in the mess
Okay.
and he asked me politely कि are you all right? I hope you don't need anything. And I'm like, no, I don't need anything. I'm fine, sir. Thank you very much. Later on, next day, when everything opened up, I reached the squadron. So I found everyone sitting in the crew room. And that is when I realized, ki, okay, people were playing different parts. And it was a beautiful, you know,
Welcome
assembly
that was
of,
given
it
to
was a
you.
beautiful assembly of film stars in uniform, Air Force uniform, playing different parts. But it was a beautiful way. And then they explained, कि सर ने बहुत हमें मना किया था. फ्लाइट कमांडर एंड सीईओ हैड स्टॉप्ड अस कि नहीं यू कांट डू दिस, शी इज अ लेडी ऑफिसर. एंड दे वर लाइक कि व्हाट, सो व्हाट, शी इज अ लेडी ऑफिसर, ठीक है, बट वी
Officer,
नीड
eh?
टू वेलकम हर द वे वी वेलकम ऑल द अदर ऑफिसर्स. लाइक ओके, थैंक यू वेरी मच. देयर आफ्टर अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ compromises. Crew room, changing room. Crew room was a common affair. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Changing room was the biggest hurdle.
Correct.
Now, where do you change? Because there was a common changing room and a common toilet.
Okay.
Now, the toilets were, the urinals and the pot are together in the same door.
Okay.
Now, there small problems start. So, initially, the okay, theek hai, I was never caught like that. Then, once or twice it happened, male officers are changing and they're not used to
Yeah.
locking the door and changing. So, being caught off guard. Washrooms ka same problem. Then every one of us sat. Like I sat with flight commander and then he said, told me separately, कि बच्चा, let's do this one thing. When you change, you lock the main door. And once the door is locked, I will brief my boys separately. You lock the door and they will know, okay, you are changing. And when you're using the washroom, since the pot separately lock karoge, and if somebody is using
Yeah.
outside, you're again stuck.
Yeah.
So he said, you do one thing, you lock the main door.
Yeah.
That will keep you safe and everyone will know, okay, Sangeeta is there inside. So I said, okay, fine. And then when I was not present, the whole rest of the
Could
squadron
do
was
as they
briefed.
wanted to. Yeah.
They were briefed.
Okay.
Ki we need to adjust.
Yeah.
Since she is there, we need to adjust, and this is the way we are going to adjust. So they all agreed. They were very sweet people. They all agreed, and it was fine. Later on, it took almost 6 months, but we adjusted. A situation came wherein I still remember, 1999 ka Kandla cyclone. That was a bad one. We were supposed to ferry 10 aircrafts to Baroda, but we couldn't ferry all 10. We could only ferry 5. 4 were left. We were supposed to ferry early in the morning, 4 o'clock, but cyclone hit by then, and the 4 aircrafts were there, stuck.
Oh God.
Now we had to put them at various locations. So officers were also limited because only the limited number came back. So what they said, what AOC said and CO said was, "Ki we'll do one thing, 2 we'll put separately." So we 3 of us were posted by then, and still the changing room was one only. So बारिश में गीले होते हुए with that wind blowing, we still managed to picket and latch all the aircrafts, park them safely. Change कहाँ करें? So that adjustment came. We came. By then हमारे लिए चाय वाय सब ready थी. They said, okay, go inside, change. So when we were changing, everyone knew कि okay, girls are changing inside. So they will caution somebody who's coming in a hurry.
Yeah.
They will caution them कि ये रुक जा. This lady officers inside. That was one part of the adjustment that we had to do. Rest was, when going to border areas
Yeah.
for commitments, there the problem used to come, but then you have to bear it. Though they had, helipads are at such secluded locations, wahan pe there is no washroom ka facility. So you have to think on your own and prepare yourself mentally ki जब तक वहां से जाके एयरफील्ड पे वापस नहीं आ जाते, you can't use the loo.
Right.
So you have to drink and eat according to the situation given.
Right.
So it was a big task. It was a big situation for us because every one of us, we were 9 of us passed out in the first batch of helicopters. And हमारे next course में there were 6. Gunjan
Okay.
Saxena was from the second batch.
All right.
So they were the next lot who occupied the remaining units.
Okay.
So we two, हमारे दो जो batches थे, we got the major chunk wherein adjustment with the changing rooms, adjustment with the washrooms, separate washrooms नहीं होते थे, same common washrooms adjust करो. Yes, I was lucky enough probably to have got 114 HU, which was very adjusting. My AOC was also very adjusting. So, people were prepared. The rest of them also had the same situation, but yes, it was difficult time, but a fun filled. Other than these two areas, I don't think we had much of a problem, which by now the new recruits, I'm sure fighter squadron, the lady officers who have come, I'm sure they must have gone through a lot like what we went through.
Mm-hmm. But over the
Avni,
time period, things would have
they
changed for
are.
everyone and for better.
I agree, but one thing we must remember, aviation has been a totally male dominated stream.
Correct.
There was one part of that male dominated stream which was still dominating, and that was
Fighters.
fighters. So, inducting lady officers in fighter stream, a big challenge in itself, a
Right.
big task in itself, not only in terms of the physical requirement. Because let me tell you, when we were in Hakimpet, IIM Bangalore was doing a research on us.
Okay.
What are the body changes that is happening when you are flying? We were given a booklet
Okay.
for recording our data there for full 1 month. They recorded our data. Okay, what happens during your monthly period time? How much of problem you are having? Flying में कितनी problem हो रही है? So all those data was collected over a period of years and given. But still, that fighter stream was a totally male dominated stream, and I'm sure the fighter squadrons must have adjusted
Correct.
a lot to have included those lady officers into their field. So it's a big achievement. Kudos to them for actually adjusting and giving them. No, not saying ki the girls have also adjusted. Girls had to adjust more.
Right.
But
But when you have that kind of a support wherein everyone is ready to, uh, just tell you, okay,
push,
we are there with you,
yes.
pushing you and
I
giving you the,
agree
yeah,
because there are 50-50
correct.
adjustment issues. But
Yeah,
yes, you have to adjust. Once in uniform, you don't have any other option. A part comes in, you have to adjust.
correct.
So both the parties have adjusted, and I'm sure with so many lady officers, lady pilots have been passed out and reached such high levels, I'm sure fighter squadron also they must have adjusted pretty well from the start itself.
Correct.
Because our 4 courses was the beginning courses,
Hmm.
wherein all the air force stations were almost adjusting with the first ones entering them.
Correct.
But by now they're used to
Used to it.
getting higher positions, flight commanders, CO positions. So it's a big level that they have reached.
Correct. Talking about Air Force life and the way you talked about welcome and stuff, तो उसमें क्या कुछ ऐसे कस्टम्स, कुछ ऐसे ट्रेडिशंस जो आज भी आप अपने साथ लेके चलते हो कि ये मैं नहीं छोड़ सकती, ये मेरे एयरफोर्स के दिनों की यादें हैं?
ऐसा कोई ट्रेडिशन नहीं है, बट येस देर आर सर्टन डिसिप्लिन्स विच इज देयर विच नोइंगली और अननोइंगली बच्चों में पास ऑन हो गए हैं.
ओके, मतलब आप कहना चाहते हो कि एयरफोर्स लाइफ ने आपकी आज की लाइफ को भी इम्पैक्ट किया है.
इट इज
और
जैसे डिसिप्लिन लेवल है,
हम्म,
ठीक है, टाइम मैनेजमेंट एंड टाइम एडहेरेंस टू द टाइम. जहां तक हो सके यू ट्राई एंड रीच ऑन टाइम या लीव ऑन टाइम. अगर नहीं पहुंच पा रहे हो एटलीस्ट इन्फॉर्म द पर्सन, इन्फॉर्मिंग द पर्सन. वो चीजें जो है ना दैट हैज बीन देयर फ्रॉम द बिगिनिंग. एंड सिंस माई लाइफ इज सच, आई एम एन एयरफोर्स ऑफिसर, आई एम मैरिड टू अ नेवल ऑफिसर, आई एम द डॉटर इन लॉ ऑफ एन आर्मी ऑफिसर, आई एम द डॉटर ऑफ अ नेवल ऑफिसर.
Okay.
So I have got all the tri services in my family. So you can say, literally forge runs in my
blood.
blood.
And
So
also
my,
in your kids.
हाँ, so वो बच्चे naturally उसमें tuned up हैं, but at the same time, you know, there are certain things which we have passed on. कि
Hmm.
कहीं जा रहे हो, dress up properly, you know, parties organize हो रही हैं, so do this, don't do that. When somebody new is coming, yes, one tradition that has been, it's not only in Air Force but in Navy also, Army also, somebody new comes, you need to welcome that person, make that person comfortable, make that person, adjust that person, you know, show that person around.
Hmm.
वो चीजें has been passed on to my girls. Both my girls are, वो knowingly unknowingly उनके अंदर आ गया है. So any classmate comes who's new,
Hmm.
they will automatically go tune that person कि okay ये यहाँ है, this is how it is.
Right.
Make that person comfortable in the classroom. So जो Air Force का और Armed Forces का tradition है of
Hmm.
welcoming people,
Yes.
making them comfortable, taking care of them till the time they get adjusted, that is naturally being passed on to the kids.
Wonderful.
That is
That's very
one thing
nice.
which carries on.
So, coming back to your life of as a helicopter pilot, and you would have seen a lot of changes, right? As in warfare में अगर देखें हम तो in today's date and time you don't need to cross the enemy line to put an impact. We saw it recently. And do you think role of Air Force in such situations is changing now? And how, where do you see it going?
Actually, if I compare it during that time and this, Air Force has grown a lot in terms of technology.
Mm-hmm.
Use of technology within Air Force, not only for warfare, but other means of communications has also improved a lot. It's come a long way,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a big achievement that the government is actually thinking about improving our armed forces, not only Air Force. Air Force plays has a very crucial responsibility of safeguarding the skies, because that is one domain wherein there is a lot of threat which comes.
Correct.
So looking at the current scenario of whatever the warfare is there, it's a big achievement. It's a big progress which the Air Force has come on, because during that time I can only think of the Kargil time, because when the Kargil ops was on, I was posted in Jamnagar. So if I compare that time and this time, yes, there is a lot of improvement. There is a lot of progress, not only in terms of technology, the kind of weaponry, the kind of aircrafts, the kind of preparedness.
Mm-hmm.
Though preparedness was there that time also, armed forces have been always prepared, but the kind of advanced preparedness, and the best part was the all the tri services had jointly conducted the operation. They were totally in sync with whatever they were doing. They were totally aware of, minute to minute awareness was there of what was happening. It's a big achievement, and I'm so happy. Actually, there are, a part of me would prefer, you know, I wish we could get a chance to go back and just have that exposure once.
Okay.
That is one part, you know, wherein I can always say, you know, I envy these girls
Okay.
that they have that opportunity to serve a nation, serve in the Air Force at a time when such beautiful opportunity and such technology is there which is going to help them,
Right.
support them, protect them.
Correct. Very true.
So those things are there wherein we had those technologies, but today the technology is much, much better.
Right.
So I wish even we could get that kind of a exposure. But ठीक है, what we got the exposure was also not bad.
Yeah, of course. You've raised the bar, and the bar keeps on raising
Bar
every
keeps
time.
on. I'm sure every course that retires
Yes.
will have that regret कि यार I wish I could
हम
serve a
अब
little
कर
more.
लेते हैं और
थोड़ा सा और कर
हाँ.
लेते यार, थोड़ा मौका मिल जाता. Like I was watching social media, there were many of us seniors, veterans who were ready to join back.
Okay.
They were ready to join the cockpit back. Had chief would have agreed, I'm sure many people would have joined back, including us. You know,
Okay.
so it is a big happiness actually to see the progress in Air Force, the technology, the warfare techniques that are being introduced. it's a big progress. It's a nice level that they've reached.
ओके।
अच्छा लगता है देख के.
तो फिर तो ये सवाल रह ही नहीं जाता पूछने वाला कि आज अगर मौका मिले तो आपका आंसर क्या होगा? इट हैज टू बी अ यस, यस एंड अ यस।
आई विश अगर कोई सिर्फ एक बार बोले कि चलो तुम्हें वापस लेते हैं. आई एम श्योर एवरी वन ऑफ अस वेर एवर इन द वर्ल्ड वी आर we'll be ready to drop and just come back.
वंडरफुल। सो दैट इज व्हाट एयरफोर्स हैज डन टू यू।
Wearing that uniform, thinking about the uniform, I can tell you, I can see it from the eyes of my students.
यस।
There are many students. I'm a B.Ed trained. After retirement, I got trained in B.Ed. That too is an achievement. So when I go and stand in front of a classroom and they know that I am a helicopter pilot, that too the first batch, it's like, okay, I also want to become like you. So I can proudly say there are about 7, 8 girls in the Air Force currently serving who are
योर प्रोडक्ट।
my products. I can proudly say my
वंडरफुल।
products.
So you're already leaving a legacy, which is, still the torch is taken care of,
It's
right?
still running. My students
Yeah,
are still running. Okay,
wonderful.
ma'am, we'll get you. Just
Hmm,
wait. We'll call you.
wonderful. So, on this note, I wanted you to say something to my audience which stays with them. Although this entire conversation, I'm sure, will be like, something they'll all carry back home and in their minds and in their hearts with their first day around the corner. Anything special that you want to say to anybody?
I would like to tell everyone, all the people watching this, listening to this, always remember Fauji is a Fauji not only in the uniform but beyond uniform also. And the major role that you play is prepare the children, not only girls, I'm not saying girls alone, boys as well. Prepare your children to join the armed forces before you push them in 10th standard, okay, start preparing for NDA or start preparing for CDS. You prepare your children from the beginning itself in terms of discipline. Remember the armed forces throughout the year, not only on the two special occasions of Independence Day and Republic Day. Fauji's need to be remembered throughout the year
Acknowledged.
because that acknowledgement is required for our today, you know, for our future. They are giving their today. They are staying in such locations, they are flying in such terrains wherein you can't even imagine. I can imagine because I've flown on those terrains, I have flown in those circumstances. Cyclones, you see the armed forces helping you. Remember this help even when the peace times are there. Remember the tough times that today India has faced when the armed forces, army, navy, air force is helping out the people. Remember these times even during peace times. It's not that in difficult times you remember the armed forces, peaceful times you forget them. No, make sure you come out and provide that moral support to the armed forces. Armed forces don't need anything else but the moral support. Main important thing, please train your kids for serving the armed forces because you don't know actually what the glory that uniform has. Only a person who wears that uniform will know what naturally changes. And I can tell you, both my daughters are NCC products. And I have seen, they have seen both of us talking of armed forces, my father-in-law talking. These girls themselves say, the moment they wear uniform, NCC uniform, the change in the body language is absolutely visible.
तो शुरुआत एनसीसी से हो सकती है।
Yes, major push is please encourage your children for NCC. Please encourage them to join NCC because NCC is a regular, commissioned arm of the armed forces. So push your children to join NCC because they will get the first feel of the armed forces when they wear the uniform. वो यूनिफॉर्म पहनते ही एक चेंज तुम्हें नजर आएगा, एक नेचुरल डिसिप्लिन आ जाता है. यू गेट दैट प्राइड इन योर बॉडी लैंग्वेज कि
And
मैं
pride
एक
for your
फौजी हूँ.
nation.
हाँ, मैं एक फौजी हूँ.
Hmm.
बच्चे नेचुरली दे से कि मैं एक फौजी हूँ. एंड यू ट्राई एंड टेल समबडी कि तुम कल एनसीसी मत जाओ. आई एम श्योर द रिप्लाई विल कम कि नो, मैं तो एनसीसी जा रहा हूँ, आई विल गिव द एग्जाम लेटर ऑन. Children have that, so please encourage children to join NCC. Encourage girls to be physically fit, mentally strong, to join the armed forces, not only Air Force but Navy and Army equally.
और इन सब बातों का जो असली इम्पैक्ट पड़ने वाला है ना, वो ये है कि देश के प्रति एक लगाव आएगा जिसकी बहुत जरूरत है. हमें लगता है जितना हम अपने भारत को प्यार करें, उसको इज्जत दें, उसके लिए बच्चों को तैयार करें.
एक्चुअली ट्रू है ये जो तुम कहते हो कि देश का भविष्य आज का युवा है, वो एक्चुअली सिर्फ बातों में नहीं है.
बहुत सही.
वो एक्चुअली में तुम्हें हर रोज हर पल ये याद करके रखना होगा. एवरी डे, एवरी मोमेंट यू हैव टू रिमेम्बर दिस, that song which Lata Mangeshkar sang, ऐ मेरे वतन के लोगों, that should become like a blood speaking to us कि वो एक्चुअली में ट्रू है. तुम्हारा मोटिवेशन towards your tribute to the armed forces is remembering a Fauji. Train your kids in such a way that you see a armed forces person somewhere, please pay the respect to that person. If you can help a common man, सबसे बड़ी help of armed forces is please help a common man from your side. तुम अपना ध्यान रख लो. You take care of yourself for the nation. The nation will be taken care of by the armed forces. That is a pakka truth.
Very true.
So this Air Force Day, please come, take a pledge, not only to protect your skies, please protect your water and land, and protect your own self along with the people around you. And keep your head still, head on the shoulders, and think logically, think practically why people are making you divert from your original path, that you are an Indian. Be Indian, buy Indian, stay Indian.
Absolutely. I just love this and instill the same in all the people around you. Thank you so very much. A very happy Air Force Day to you.
Happy Air Force
and
Day
I'm very
to
glad
you.
that I think I'm the first one to wish you this time.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So this was Sqn Ldr Sangeeta Parmar, who is now retired, but she still feels that if the call comes, she wouldn't mind joining and being there in the helicopter of her choice. From the first batch of women helicopter pilots in the Indian Air Force, where she was commissioned in 1995 December. She has flown the Chetak Cheetah in the Air Force with 1300 hours of flying experience, and you all heard her speak her heart out when she said that every child should join the services, should learn about the discipline, the dedication, the passion, and the most important thing, patriotic fervor in their lives. So hoping that today's Air Force Day made extra special for all of you. And remember, there is a part 2 also that will be coming up tomorrow. And stay tuned and figure out who am I going to talk to in tomorrow's show. Until then, take care. A very, very happy Air Force Day. Blue skies to all my friends in the Air Force. And a wonderful life ahead to all the ones who have taken on to the second innings in their lives. Jai Hind.